Welcome to the 9th Amazing Race Canada 4 recap episode of the Yachty Number podcast from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Harmstone, and joining me, as always, is the Canadian whose ovaries threaten to burst every time he podcasts, Logan Saunders.
Morning.
Good morning, and it's slightly delayed because Logan slept.
Yep.
And there has been some big developments this week since we last podcasted.
Really?
Yeah. A certain Canuck who is on this podcast is coming to stay at mine for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. It's me.
And I saw your Instagram story about going to Europe last night, and I hate to tell you, but you might not get much tail in Manchester.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't planning on that to happen in Manchester. I was going to wait till Spain. But in all seriousness, no, that was just a joke. All the other reasons, including the Mr. Mime part, are why I'm going to Europe.
I've not seen Mr. Mime yet.
Oh.
I hate to disappoint you, but it might be slightly unlikely depending on where we go.
I will just keep roaming around Spain until I catch Mr. Mime. That's what I'll do.
So, previously, 5 teams raced to Havana, Cuba. At the detour, Steph cut her finger, but it was the double battle that saw teams try and slice each other out of the competition as they competed in beach volleyball. Gillian and Emmett served up their second win of the race, while the roadblock caused Rita and Yvette to fall behind, leaving them to check in last, but they were saved by the final non-elimination leg of the season. And teams must now fly to Sydney, Nova Scotia, and find the clues that are in their cars at the airport. And they have $300 for this leg of the race. Caution, super hyper mega double U-turn ahead.
Another one. They're really throwing from having pretty much absolutely no twist in the first half of the season. Pretty much every leg in the second half has had some sort of twist.
Could it be because we're in the Maritimes and no one actually cares about the Maritimes?
That is a very strong possibility. I know I said that this Maritime leg didn't suck for once, and that's the best one we've had, but...
That's not saying much.
Yeah, that bar was not set very high whatsoever.
And next week's looks stupid.
Yeah, like this week at least had a really strong theme to it, and it didn't go too over the top with product placement or some of the patriotism that they throw in this leg. There was just a bit from... Emmett's confessional was taken out and was stamped with the patriotism seal of approval during the Coast Guard task. But other than that, they didn't go too overboard with it like I was expecting them to.
Yeah, the way I've seen St. John described is the arsehole of Canada.
Really? Where was this?
This is in a private chat from Kurt.
So we actually have somebody on the ground who can confirm this firsthand.
Yeah, he said he was born in St. John and can honestly say that it is the asshole of Canada.
Man.
So, my favourite bit of the opening scenes was just Gillian's cheesy grin.
Well, and I love that they threw in another bit of Gillian and Emmett sarcasm.
Oh, we're so happy that Rita and Yvette got saved.
Well, there's the one part where Gillian's like, yay, we're going home, and then Emmett just has a very, very sarcastic, yeah. He is so mentally checked out of the experience at this point.
He's just ready to go back to Nova Scotia and not with Gillian.
They're exes for a reason.
I love how Monty's previously on basically said, oh, they didn't manage to screw everything up.
That was just like, they finally got along for once.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time they got along, they were really close to being eliminated. But this time it was back to what we saw at the start of the season, which was them just crushing everybody by nearly 2 hours or more.
Yeah, their departure time was insane. I was very, very surprised that they departed at 12:53, and then the second was Joel and Ashley at 2:35. They slaughtered the last leg.
Yeah, this is what we were expecting to happen a bit more frequently throughout the season. But no, it's just been the very start, and then these two legs where Evan and Jillian are back to performing the way that everyone expected them to.
I'm assuming that was mainly down to the double battle, but they crushed it if they got a 2-hour lead somehow.
Yeah, well, each game I think was about 20 minutes long in the volleyball.
And then Frankie and Amy's penalty was about 15.
Yeah.
Unless Emmett was really that good at the roadblock, they crushed it on the double battle.
Mm-hmm. Reed and Yvette did not crush it as they started nearly 4 hours behind.
Yeah, but in Canada, no one cares because you're all on the same flight anyway.
I do love how much they trolled them, though, in the airport. So, it sucks for you guys, but it rocks for us.
Yay, us! So, once teams land in Sydney, they have to find the Canadian Coast Guard College and search for their next clue. And during the remainder of the leg, their cars will be tracking their movements. The team who drives the fewest amount of kilometres wins $5,000.
At least Chevrolet's putting up something.
Yeah.
Other than the part of the grand prize.
Chevrolet don't really have to do that much egregious sponsorship, because we haven't seen that much sort of really irritating sponsorship, apart from the repeated Mentos appearances.
Did you notice Air Canada this week with it being over the top in the Cuban airport with the person that was smiling and holding up the vacancy sign, and then the person behind the desk being shown to be super polite?
I love how early in the season I was the one person who realised that Air Canada was still kind of sponsoring the show, just not blatantly. Yeah, they went over the top this week.
Enjoy your flight.
Enjoy your flight with beautiful Air Canada.
Not like those suckers on WestJet who will take your lunch money.
Not like those bastards who you've got to fly with.
They just start mocking their competition.
Well, F you, WestJet.
Yeah. You do nothing for Masonry's Canada. You do nothing to showcase our land from coast to coast to coast.
You're so un-Canadian.
You probably don't even like the Canadian Coast Guard.
You probably don't even like the Maritimes like most people in Canada.
You probably want the Masonry's Canada to go international.
You're the worst. So once they get to the Coast Guard College, it's an active route info, which is where teams have to use instructions to direct a boat driver to one of two rescue locations, and once there, one team member must jump in and rescue a dummy from the water before returning it to the boat, and then the team delivers it to an ambulance to receive their next clue. And this task was wonderful.
I love how Reed and Yvette were just like, we'll just follow another team. We're tired of looking up starboard and port side, and we're just gonna hope that Joel and Ashley are taking us to the right location.
I knew as soon as Frankie and Amy got onto their boat and Frankie shouted,
"Oh my god, my name's Francis! Nice to meet you!"
that this task would be fun.
Yeah.
And also Rita and Yvette getting the world's most sarcastic boat driver. Can you go to port? Can you go to starboard?
I can steer to both of those.
I'm that good. I'm only a Canadian Coast Guard. It'd be funny if he said no. He's like, nah, I don't really know which is which. Can you tell me?
Yeah, I'm kind of bored of directing myself. You guys do it.
Mm-hmm. In fact, you guys just drive the boat. I saw you guys do such a wonderful time with directing a boat when you were during the Kingston leg. I think you could do it today as well.
Why not? And also, I love the fact that everyone just had to be rolled into the boat. They couldn't actually drag people up. They had to be rolled in.
I hear that Emmett said that this was the toughest thing he's physically had to do in his entire life.
And he doesn't even break a sweat at the gym.
Yeah. I love how Frankie thought like being a Canadian Coast Guard was like being a pirate. And she was like, aye. Aye, Captain.
It was a good week for Frankie dressing up.
Yes. And then, of course, finding a driver named Francis, which was the elementary school ask, hey, we have the same name. And then the driver being like, that's what it does. It's what it does.
She should have said it quite quietly, though, because Deadpool probably would have tried to track her down. if she shouted that her name was Francis.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's Francis. I want to kill him. So yeah, Rita and Yvette do follow Joel and Ashley, and they are the only team who get the wrong dummy, leaving them in last place.
Dead last. Like, they had to be probably... They probably lost a good half hour by picking up the wrong dummy, so they were probably 45 minutes behind Joel and Ashley, would be my guess.
And it was at this point that I thought, what was Logan's prediction again?
Hey, teams that were last on non-elimination are 0 for 10 in terms of being eliminated in the subsequent round. And 0 for 7 on being eliminated when they have to do a speed bump.
Yeah, about that, Logan.
The odds were ridiculously in my favor. At this point, it would be as certain as the Kror tribe beating Oolong in an immunity challenge.
Yeah, I wish I would have made that bet with you, because I sort of thought Rita and Yvette were probably going home because everyone else had more story left. But it was just hilarious when Rita and Yvette started falling to the back of the pack, and Logan probably started shitting himself because he knew I was going to mock him.
Yeah, I kind of expected it once the episode was over. I'm thinking, the one time I post that statistic, the one time.
I agree with you that Joel and Ashley are probably the next boot, but no, I kind of was pretty convinced Rita and Yvette were dead in the water this week. No pun intended.
Yeah. And Stefan, who knew that wearing that huge, bulky Canadian Coast Guard uniform with Kristen wearing it would somehow be attractive for Steph?
I forgot to write that down.
It is the most, she didn't say a word. They were bickering when they had to play beach volleyball. But when they were bundled up in the middle of Nova Scotia doing a Canadian Coast Guard task, then suddenly that's the most attractive outfit to wear.
That's so hot.
Probably. Like, do you know how many layers were in that outfit? Imagine if they had to wear that during the Cuba leg. Oh.
That would basically be a Hammerot's penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Hammerot's has done that for a hot country before.
Yeah.
So, once teams complete their respective Coast Guard challenge, for 4 of them it's the detour, which is Feel the Burn or Feel the Rhythm. And in Feel the Burn, teams must take part in 3 Highland Games events: the Caber Toss, the Farmer's Walk, and the Stone's Throw to receive the next clue. And in Feel the Rhythm, teams must obviously, because it's Amazing Race Canada, learn a traditional Highland dance to receive the next clue.
I wonder if Feel the Burn refers to how Monty feels after wearing that kilt all day.
Did you know that costume Monty was wearing was actually his family's tartan?
Oh, so that's passed through the generations then.
Yeah, because I actually researched this, because I thought, I wonder if they're deliberately doing this with Monty having the right tartan on, and he does. Indeed, his sash was the correct tartan.
What's a tartan?
You'd know the pattern. It's the pattern that he had on the sash.
Okay.
But each, I suppose clan rather than family, each clan has their own design of tartan.
I want to design my own tartan. I'm not Scottish, but...
If your family had a tartan, it probably would include a horse's head in someone's bed on it. Or an AK-47 or something.
Or a fish. Rita and Yvette sleep with the fishes.
And for everyone but Rita and Yvette, they go straight to the detour. Rita and Yvette, of course, have the most ridiculous speed bump in Amazing Race Canada history.
It is, and it looks like it's probably the toughest one, actually. So those were a lot of envelopes to stamp.
I don't think Canada's speed bumps have ever been really lacking compared to the US untying a knot, sitting on an ice chair, that sort of one. But this is definitely up there for Amazing Race Canada, because they have to carry 2 sacks of Christmas letters to the Christmas Island post office, then stamp every letter in a marked box with the Christmas postmark before they can continue racing.
I love how they just blatantly played Christmas music the whole time and had the creepy Santa Claus ho 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 playing all the way through.
Oh god, can you imagine how depressing it would be to work there?
Yeah, well, look at that one person that was the one employee who was wearing the Santa hat, where she was just laughing the whole time.
It's like the people who work at Santa's grottos and things. They must be so unbelievably depressed.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not even Christmas time. Like, this would have been filmed in April or May. And my other question is, who sends letters to Santa by May? Christmas is still 7 months away.
I know. One observation question for you. Did you notice who Monty's letter was to?
Oh, who? Phil Kogan.
It was not. It was, actually, an address in Russell, Manitoba for his mum. The letter was addressed to Mum and Montgomery, P.O. Box something, Russell, Manitoba.
I did not notice that. That is a great catch.
I went back and looked at it, because I noticed it originally, went back and looked at it after the episode. It was actually a P.O. Box in Russell, Manitoba.
We have to screen cap that.
I am wondering if Monty wants people to send his mum Christmas cards, because I can arrange that. That might be slightly creepy, but it'll be quite fun.
The most Christmas cards that Russell, Manitoba will ever receive.
It's got to have a polar bear on there, though.
Yeah, it's just thousands. It's just thousands that she gets flooded with.
You know those online campaigns that are like, oh, my kid has no friends, can you send him thousands of birthday cards? I think we should do that with Mama Montgomery.
That would be awesome on so many levels.
I was kind of afraid of tweeting him saying, do you want me to send your mum a Christmas card? Because you did put the address on there. I think he probably would find that slightly creepy.
Wonder what Monty thinks of us anyways, though. Like, would that be his worst opinion of us?
I want Monty to talk to us. I want to get Monty on the podcast. And I think we could come up with a lot of stupid questions for him to answer. Rather than the traditional, oh, how much do you love Canada?
He would just walk out.
I don't think he would. I think Monty probably has a great sense of humour.
I think so too.
About the sort of shit that he knows we would pull.
However, there is one thing we have to point out, and that's because you wouldn't be allowed on the podcast, Michael, since this is Amazing Race Canada, and we have to keep the podcast interviews in Canada.
Good point. I would have to let you lead the interview.
Mm-hmm. You would only be able to speak unless spoken to by one of us. So you'd be allowed to speak 3/11ths of the time.
Will you be allowed to do any Canadian podcasts if you go to Europe for 3 months, Logan? You wouldn't be allowed to do any Canadian podcasts in future because you wouldn't be pure blood Canadian anymore.
Oh, well, I mean, I still got Canadian citizenship, so I'd still be okay.
So, do you think that this speed bump was slightly unfair because it basically took Rita and Yvette out of contention for the $5,000?
Did they have to drive there? I thought they just walked over.
No, they drove there. They definitely drove.
Oh, well, that's what they get for being spared from elimination last leg. That was their prize.
Yeah, but they don't win anything for actually being on the race unless they win the race. So it's slightly unfair to make them drive somewhere extra.
Mm-hmm.
Unless all the other teams get really lost. I wonder what the mechanic of announcing it if Rita and Yvette would have won, though. They have been called back with the other 4 teams, or would they have just done it for the teams that are remaining?
Yeah, it'd be like, but cheer up, guys, because you just won $5,000 for being eliminated this leg.
It's still better than Big Brother Canada's grand prize from whoever it was, the washing company.
OxyClean?
OxyClean's $500 shopping spree.
And a little bit of crack, courtesy of Billy Mays.
So at the Highland Games roadblock, there are different logs for men and women, because Amazing Race Canada is sexist.
The male farmers walk and the female farmers walk.
Everyone should get the same size logs.
Yeah, if only Hugo Girard was there to shove Emmett aside and just lift those logs up and just book it down the lanes.
Gone straight over my head.
Hugo Girard was once upon a time he competed in the World's Strongest Man competition and represented Canada. Same with Tom McGee. Tom McGee was actually the closest out of any Canadian to win the competition. He did so in 1982.
Wasn't that a Survivor the Amazon tribe?
Tom McGee? Yeah, Tom McGee. Tom McGee. Their names do sound very similar.
This is what happens if you tweet out your jokes before the podcast, because I have time to prepare.
Well played, Michael. Yes, Tom McGee was the 9th member of the Amazon. He was actually the guy. He was edited out of the season when Butch had that firewood accident because Tom McGee was burned alive, I guess, while the camp was coming down, and then he threatened to sue the show, and then the show paid him out an undisclosed amount of money. And then they just removed his edit from the whole season. And
Jillian and Emmett overtake Steph and Kristen at the Farmer's Walk.
Emmett and Jillian's conversation in the car leading up to the detour was amusing. Jillian's like, I'm a super strong girl, but Steph and Kristen are just wow. And then Emmett says, they would kick your ass, Jill. And then Jill's like, what? No, they wouldn't.
Jillian, I hate to tell you, they would.
Mhm. I mean, if I can, it'd be funny if Emmett was references his own experiences of beating up Jillian. I mean, if I was able to, power over you so easily, then Steph and Kristen would just it would just be no problem for them. And then it's like, wow, that's the reason why they're exes. And then the viewers would file a lot of complaints and be like, wow, this is some serious stuff. And then Emmett goes to trial, and then he's put behind bars, all because of an off the cuff remark on the Amazing Race Canada.
At least Jillian and Emmett aren't seen strangling each other yet, like Alana and Mel.
So frustrating. And then with Emmett too, once he's in prison with the inmates, after his first day, he's going to be like, "Wow, that was the most physically intense thing I've ever done. I don't even sweat when I'm in the gym."
I love that you've finally got onto Amazing Race Australia now. We can finally start making jokes about Focus, Believe, Achieve, and
Focus, believe, retreat in Jeff and Luke's case. What else was I going to say with the detour? Oh yeah, what was the name of the Highlander? Devi the Highlander?
something like that, yeah.
Huh. Never even heard of that name. I wonder if that's like a nickname for Devon?
That's where Devon Soltendieck's been. This is where he's been hiding. He's been hiding in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Maybe production originally told him he was going to fly to Sydney. He went to Australia and thought, guys, are you going to give me any more information? And then at the last second he was told it would be Sydney, Nova Scotia.
He was actually the guy rescued in the water during the Coast Guard task. Speaking of the Coast Guards, why were they like all lined up like sports spectators or something like that, just lining up, giving high fives and cheering on all the teams as they left? I mean, there was a lot of Coast Guards. Didn't they have like more important stuff to do at the time? 'Cause that's a lot of Coast Guards to just be standing around.
It did make me laugh that they were basically lined up like it was the end of the London Marathon or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
They were just cheering them on for the end of their journey.
And then, am I the only one who thought that Frankie was going to seriously injure herself during the farmer's walk? I love how her and Amy had like the weirdest ways to carry that log.
I think this is just our breakout episode for Frankie and Amy. We got a lot of Frankie and Amy this week.
Or how insulting this whole round was to Steph, where there's hands-on with bringing the dummy into the boat, then there was caber tossing, farmer's walk, and the stone toss. Everything that involves like your wrists and your fingers.
So suck it, Steph and Kristen. This is what you get for playing with knives. And Steph and Kristen are the first to leave Feel the Burn. And teams must now find the Black House, which is where I'm assuming the first boots of Amazing Race Family Edition live. And that is the site of the double U-turn board.
And as predicted, Frankie and Amy are completely spared from this double U-turn. In fact, they are the only team not to be implicated in this double U-turn.
And that is because Jillian and Emmett do not see them as a threat.
Well, even with even in the previous U-turn, they were the only team that wasn't nominated for possibly being U-turned, other than Julian Law.
Yeah, the thing is, whenever we see a confessional of someone going, "Oh, we want this team in the final three because we can beat them,"
and both teams said that. Like it's weird. Like the storyline from the beginning that we were talking about Emmett and Jillian and Steph and Kristen working together to obliterate the other 8 teams during the season is really coming full circle here, where they realign again just to take out a team that's not Frankie and Amy. They didn't really care who went between Joel and Ashley or Reed and Abed.
Yeah, I sort of winced when I saw Emmett's confessional about, "Oh, we can beat them," because generally when you see that, it means anyone who says it is going to be in the final three with the team they're talking about, and the team they're talking about is going to kick their asses.
Even when he goes the extra mile and says, "We're the Sharks, and the Sharks need the stoner fish," or whatever the fish he was referencing. We need the stoner fish in the final three.
We might as well not even have the next 2 episodes. Frankie and Amy have won the season.
Do you know how much of a letdown it'll be if it's just final three, Emmett and Jillian, Steph and Kristen, Frankie and Amy, and then, Emmett and Jillian win the final leg by an hour and a half or something like that? Do you know how disappointing that would be?
Yeah, they won't, though. I think we can pretty safely lock it in at final 4, that our final 3 is going to be everyone but Joel and Ashley, and Frankie and Amy have won.
Yeah, like with Emmett and Jillian, Steph and Kristen, they've probably probably since about day one, they've been they've been hogging up a lot of the airtime. If I had to poll the casual audience, they're probably the two least popular teams, probably from the beginning.
Yeah, we've been building up to this all season of Gillian and Emmett and Steph and Kristen being in the final leg. Who's going to win? And frankly, it doesn't really matter. Because whoever's in the final three with them, whether it is Joel and Ashley or Frankie and Amy, but it's going to be Frankie and Amy, they're going to win.
Mm-hmm. I love, too, with the U-turn this time around, that Steph and Kristen get there first, and then they're just like, well, considering the first U-turn, Emmett and Gillian almost finished second, even with being U-turned, and knowing that they're only, 10 seconds behind us, there's really no point wasting our energy to U-turn them again. We may as well try and protect Frankie and Amy. I'm surprised that Frankie and Amy were viewed as being weaker than Rena and Yvette, considering Rena and Yvette had the lowest average by 0.65 points.
By quite a way.
Yeah, it's significant.
The top four of the season are the top four in terms of average. Mm-hmm. That cannot be changed now. In what order, it's going to be slightly different, but that cannot be changed with Rita and Yvette being eliminated now. So I see Frankie and Amy as a threat, especially when they can basically convince Steph and Kristen to bitch slap Gillian and Emmett and give them the express pass, when they get no blowback at all for having the express pass, don't even get targeted at all for having the express pass. I would see Frankie and Amy as a massive threat personally.
Yeah, nobody's giving them any credit for anything.
Apart from us.
You know what's terrible? Bagpipes.
I would agree. Bagpipes are awful.
It was really loud on the audio too compared to everything else. You'd just be sitting back, and then it cuts back to Joel and Ashley and Rena and Yvette at the dancing task, and then whoa, bagpipes galore. And you know that there's a lot of Scottish people around because all the dancers, most of them anyway, were gingers. In fact, when Joel and Ashley completed the detour, they got a big ginger hug from the instructor.
I bet Monty felt completely at home in Nova Scotia. Maybe he actually sort of convinced production to go to Nova Scotia just so they could do this sort of Scottish-themed leg.
They're probably really rude to blondes there, I would imagine. They'd be like, how do you like it now,
So Gillian and Emmett do leave Byrne in second. Steph and Kristen U-turn Joel and Ashley, despite their promise in leg 6. Gillian and Emmett U-turn Rita and Yvette, and then Joel and Ashley get rejected, Frankie and Amy leave, Rita and Yvette get rejected, and then Joel and Ashley and Rita and Yvette leave in 4th and 5th respectively. There's no point even talking about post-U-turn because, nothing changed. So teams must now find the Louisbourg National Historic Site and then get changed into period costumes before they can head to the box, which contains their next clue.
I like that actually showed more class with the U-turn this time around and did not refer to Ellen and Gillian as fart faces this time, or Steph and Kristen.
Yeah, can you imagine if Gillian and Emmett had U-turned them again?
It probably felt like they were just being U-turned by Emmett and Gillian again, though. I mean, there's probably not much distinction between Steph and Kristen, Emmett and Gillian by this point in the season. They're the two teams that have been borderline kicking your ass since day one.
What I would say, though, is why on earth are Steph and Kristen and Gillian and Emmett aligning?
You would think they would want to be like, hey, instead of having just one team we view as being really weak in the final three, why not try to find two teams you think are really weak in the final three? Like, do they just want them to have, are both of them just so competitive that they want this huge showdown in the finale?
Exactly. I mean, there's being competitive like I am, and there's being logical. You don't want teams who you'll lose to in the final. You want teams you can kick their asses off. Yeah,
you think a red flag would go off in their head when they're thinking, oh, man, no point you train Emmett and Gillian because they're so good. Your next thought should be, wait a second, this team that we think is so good may or may not be the team most likely to beat us at the end.
There's only one leg of the race you need to win, and that's the final one.
Mm-hmm.
Anything other than that is a bonus. So, once teams have their clue at the Louisbourg National Historic Site, they have to do another active route info, which is rolling 6 barrels up a hill and then firing a cannon.
Do a barrel roll!
I was waiting for that. Yeah, roll a barrel up a hill and then fire a cannon to get their next clue.
There's not a whole lot to say about this task. Still, other than Steph having to do another hands-on task.
Apart from the one important scene of Frankie and Amy planning out their route to the monument to try and win $5,000. Because that's not going to come back.
Oh, funny thing with Ashley back at the detour is that she referenced that the farmer's walk was like next level torture. And I'm surprised she said this, considering the previous leg they were just in the country that has Guantanamo Bay.
I mean, if it was Hammerots, they probably would have given them a double battle of trying to survive being waterboarded.
Mm-hmm. Or listen to bagpipes for half an hour.
Oh god. Yeah, I'm not sure which would be worse, having to listen to bagpipes or having to be waterboarded. And then we see the gloriousness that is Frankie and Amy trying to get all six up at the same time.
And it works. They are able to do it. It must have taken forever, though.
I'm not sure I would have done all six. I might have tried doing 4, just to see whether it's possible, and then you only have to do 2 after that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 6 is kind of a bit OCT.
If only Steph was like Sierra from Worlds Apart and could just roll on top of the barrels. Then she wouldn't have had to use her hands at all.
Yeah, I wonder if teams were told they actually had to roll them with their hands rather than running on top of them.
Mm-hmm. Or if Steph had just played lots of Super Mario RPG.
So, yeah, the Emmett and Gillian hurry up, we're in a race scene was just wondrousness.
Oh, yeah. I lost my sneaker. I lost my sneaker, Emmett. Want to borrow one of mine? Your feet are too big.
Can you not hurry up firing the cannon? We're in a race, Gillian. I've never been here before. It's nice. And Gillian just turns into a race demon.
A race demon. Jill, just have fun. Take this in.
I don't think there's any other relationship in Amazing Race that could get away with one partner calling the other one basically a race demon.
And I love how how Jill explains why she's a race demon by the fact that she wants to have 5 kids.
No, it's that she's one of 5 kids.
Oh, I thought that makes no sense.
Yeah, if she was an actual race demon, she would have devil babies by that point, and I'm not sure the fine heaven and hell balance could maintain another 5 demons in the world.
Could you imagine if Chilean took five of her kids to the cannon firing, or to, I don't know, anywhere that's supposed to be peaceful or some neat cultural experience, and all 6 of them are just screaming to hurry up as fast as possible?
See, now I'm just imagining, like, Gillian trying to give birth, doing the Exorcist head spin and vomiting everywhere and climbing up the walls.
You're gonna have to have a C-section, Gillian. I can't, I've lost my sneaker.
We did actually have a question about Gillian's shoe from Kurt Repchel, who said he was thinking about it. Do you think production will pick it up and give it to her, or will she have to buy or borrow a new pair?
I think she has to buy or borrow another shoe.
Yeah, I think she'll have to buy or borrow, but, you know, they got $300 this leg, and they're probably going to be driving to New Brunswick, so it's not going to be the end of the world.
No, they can just find a cheap running shoe that they can use for 2 rounds.
And related, any idea if Amazing Race Canada allows teams to bank their cash from the start of the legs? And I would assume, I know that this is the case in the US, where any money left over teams get to keep, because it's cash.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure about Tar Canada, because Tar Canada, as you've said in your Australia blog this week, is very cheap. And they also give them a shit ton of money on the cards.
Oh, yeah. A lot of the time, really, cash. It's just all in their BMO card, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't get cash on Amazing Race Canada. I'm assuming they can take it out, because, you know, they probably need to pay for, like, taxes and stuff with it.
And I hear that really stumps Jamie and Pierre.
I'd assume that they can't keep the balance after the race, because they'd probably all end up with like $5,000 otherwise. And Ashley's so scared by the cannon blast that she thinks one of her ovaries just burst. She just has a way with words, does Ashley.
You know what should happen is right when the cannon blast occurs, it should be like one of those like health or cold and flu commercials, you know, where they have the little map of the human body where it's just a really cartoonish view of it. It'd be funny if they did one of Ashley and you just see the ovary just having like a cartoon bursting sound effects.
Yeah, someone should do that, but with a little cartoon cannon aimed at Ashley's ovary. It fires, the ovary just bursts.
And then on top of that, it should be like Bugs Bunny, where like the ovary is all like covered in soot or something from the explosion, and then just has like blinking eyes, and then the wah 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 sound effect plays. Or even better is if it's right when the cannon blast plays, it should cut to Bart Simpson, where he has that quote from Simpsons Hit and Run, where he's like, "Ow, my ovaries."
So, one's teams have fired the cannon. They have to drive themselves to the Louisburg Lighthouse, the pit stop for this leg of the race. The last team to check in may be sung off by the Men of the Deeps, whoever they are.
Yes, the Men of the Deeps, who are minor men. Real men. They don't wear, none of them wear kilts.
Who are world famous, apparently, despite the fact I've never heard of them.
I've never heard of them either.
I know that we'll probably get some hate for that, but I have no idea who they are.
I laughed so hard each time they were shown on screen because of how over the top it was. That they were just singing and coming up with random lyrics. And just introducing themselves as the minor men each time.
I mean, the UK hasn't had coal mining since the 1980s. We don't really know what mines are anymore. Hate to tell you that, Canada.
Yeah, there wasn't even a coal miner's daughter either.
And Gillian does indeed forget her shoe when she's leaving, but her and Emmett still manage to check in first, winning their home province, and they win a trip to Mexico City.
Yay! And $5,000 later on.
Spoilers?
Sorry, it was just not. I didn't think it was noteworthy enough to delay it.
Well, it is. So shut up.
Or, you know, it'd be funny. You know what a real speed bump penalty would be? Is if every action Rhea and Yvette took had to be narrated by the minor men in a sing-song form. Like, especially if they were at the cannon task, and then the minor men are like, and Ashley's ovary just burst.
I would love it if they got to the airport, found the speed bump board, and then instead of getting an actual car, they had like a minibus that they had to take the viders with them everywhere.
Yeah, two of them just ride around with them from each task in the Chevrolet vehicle.
No, the entire Men of the Deep.
Oh, the entire Men of the Deep.
They have like a coach that they've got to drive. They have to drive everywhere. They have to take a ferry with them for the Coast Guard task because there's no room in the dinghies.
I declare your stamping technique to be less than satisfactory.
At the Highland Fling task, the Men of the Deeps just have to stand at the back of the stage looking awkward. They have to wait for all the Men of the Deeps to get changed into period costumes at the fortress. That would be a real penalty.
And they all just stand around you when you're trying to move the barrel, so it becomes really annoying. And some of them are like trying to balance on the barrels just for fun, and then like Rena Peck can be like, guys, knock it off, and they're like, we're just having fun on these barrels. It's a barrel of fun.
Welcome to beautiful Nova Scotia.
Didn't you wish you were in the other Sydney by now?
So right behind Gillian and Emmett, of course, were Steph and Kristen, with Frankie and Amy in third, and Joel and Ashley in fourth, leaving Rita and Yvette to be played the sad, sad tune of the Men of the Deeps, and eliminated in fifth place.
I hear Steph and Kristen want nothing to do with the Men of the Deep.
You can imagine the look you just got off me.
Oh, the Men of the Deep.
You're going to miss doing Steph and Kristen jokes, aren't you? I bet you're hoping and praying that the Vietnamese lesbians from Amazing Race Asia 5 are going to be up to the Steph and Kristen standard of you being able to make inappropriate jokes about them.
Oh, the season's too fun. And yeah, this Atlantic Canada leg did not completely suck. I mean, it was super physical, so the top two was kind of inevitable. But still, this podcast wasn't 20 minutes long like I was expecting it to be.
It's shorter than I expected it to be, mainly because we've not got much stupid jokes to make this week, like we have had the past couple of weeks.
So, should we serenade our besties for life? Or if you're the men of the deep, testies for life?
I can't say I'm surprised that Rita and Yvette went, just because it was kind of obvious with how their story was going that they probably weren't going to win the season, whether you realised it or not, Logan.
I was really hoping for like an under-the-radar emerging storyline, like, oh, we're in the middle of the pack and nobody thinks we're a threat. And then, oh, middle of the pack, people kinda thought they were a threat. Couldn't survive a U-turn and a speed bump though. They couldn't Ryan and Rob it.
They were more Tanner and Josh than Ryan and Rob.
And they become the first team in 11 non-elimination follow-ups to be eliminated. The streak is over.
So, next time, teams head to St. John, New Brunswick, and sticky situations, a double battle of golf.
Oh, God.
For God's sake.
Golf face-off.
And some sort of blindfolded, scented roadblock determine the final three of the season.
I've got a feeling next week's going to be our typical Atlanta Canada leg that's going to just be terrible.
I think we're just going to sit here ragging on it next week.
I just can't imagine. If editors can make golf entertaining, I will be amazed.
I'm getting mad Amazing Race Canada 1 vibes from this penultimate leg. I think I'm going to be really, really pissed off.
Yeah.
Because that golf double battle just screams the sort of pointless task, like they had the busking task in Amazing Race Canada 1, that just turned into the fan favourites going home in 4th place and starting the legacy. And who on earth wants another double battle that is golf?
I don't know, but I think it's enough to make Ashley's one of her other ovaries burst.
Having said that, if Joel and Ashley do end up getting an eagle, I will be amazed. Editors, you have so much material to work on. If this is what you are building up to with Joel and Ashley's eagle sound effects, I will love you forever. So, on that note, thank you for listening to this US Team Number podcast. You can join us every Wednesday for more Amazing Race Canada recaps when there's only 2 left. And if you've got any questions, feel free to contact us on our Facebook page, Reality TV Warriors, our Twitter account, RTV Warriors, or our own Twitter pages, MJ Harmstone for me and Log Supercocky for Logan. And if you are following Australian Survivor, oh my god, at that last episode, Logan hasn't seen it, so I can't talk about it, but Ben and Michelle will be podcasting about it. And if you're following RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 2, Spencer Wilson is recapping those on the blog every week as well. See you later.
Peace out. Chill. Till the next episode.
I feel like I'm a super strong girl, and those girls are like, wow.
They would kick your ass, Joe.
What?
I think one of my ovaries burst.